So the way you capture a woman's attention is to get inside her head. Sure, you can do this with good looks or status, but there's a much more simple and more effective way to do that. And the good thing is, any guy can do this. So here it is, and make sure you watch the video until the very end to really get this down pat. What's going on, guys? My name is Assam from dopelifecoaching.com, and today I'm going to be talking about how to capture her attention. Now, if it's your first time on this channel and you want consistent updates on similar content, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell icon so you don't miss a single video when it's released. So just as a disclaimer, before I get into all the fun stuff, this won't work unless the woman sees you as somewhat attractive. Sure, looks are not the end-all be-all by any means, but in order to capture this specific woman's attention, you have to be at least somewhat attractive in her eyes. So the way you can ensure it is by being on your A game, your absolute best game when it comes to your style and when it comes to your looks. And when I say that any guy can pull this off, it's true, but not any guy could pull this off with any woman he wants to. Sure, he could pull it off with a woman, but not every single woman it's going to work with. That doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. You'll never be able to attract every single woman that you want. So we said earlier that the way you get a woman's attention, the way you capture her attention, is by getting inside her head. Now, a very powerful way to do this is by using the power of brevity and substance. Brevity, meaning being concise and to the point, you know, short and sweet, like they like to say. And substance, meaning depth and meaning. When you have depth and meaning, you're more interesting, and therefore you capture her attention much more effectively. Now, these two things, when used together, can kind of serve as a hack, so to speak, to hack her mind and make her really interested and capture her attention so that you stand out from the crowd. And at the same time, you're not fake when you're doing this. You're still you, but you're just a more interesting version of you. So let me give you guys an example of a typical back and forth between a guy and a girl, which typically results in her not being interested in him anymore. Let's just hypothetically say this guy's name is Bob and her name is Kate. Now, Bob and Kate, they meet at the bar one night on a Friday night. They seem to have hit it off pretty well, and they exchange numbers. Now, shortly after exchanging numbers on that Friday night, Bob texts her right away, "Hey, it's Bob." She responds maybe a half hour later, "Hey," with a smiley face. "It was nice talking to you today." And he responds right away, "It was nice talking to you too. I can't wait to talk to you again." And then he sees that she doesn't respond, so he tries contacting her. "It seems like you're busy. I still really enjoyed talking to you." That's what he tells her, to kind of like lock things down, you know, to make sure she's interested. And so the whole day goes by, and she doesn't respond until Saturday, which is the next day, at around 2 p.m. She responds with, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I got hammered last night with my girlfriends and have an extremely big headache today. How's your day going?" He responds again 30 seconds later, "Oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm just lazy all day and I'd like to talk to you." He sees no response from her. And then she typically responds in maybe half an hour or an hour later. And she says, "LOL, that's good." Right after the response, right again, he tries calling her. No answer. At this point, he leaves 5 more minutes and then he texts her, "I'm gonna leave you alone if you're not interested in me." And then at that point, she didn't respond at all. Why didn't she respond? Because she lost interest in the guy. The guy was not brief and the guy didn't really have substance. It was all small talk. He did not get to the point. He didn't try to set a date with her. No brevity and no substance. She, in her mind, categorized him in the same category as every other guy. Sure, she thought he was attractive and that's why she kind of was interested and hit it off in the beginning. But then afterwards, he didn't get to the point. He just texted her incessantly. He seemed desperate. He didn't seem that he had substance to him. And so because of that, because of the lack of power of brevity and substance, she lost interest. And also, it didn't even seem like this guy was doing much in his life. He was just waiting around on Saturday, being really lazy. And it kind of seemed like the only fun thing going on to Bob was Kate. Just because he was really excited to talk to her. He just really wanted to get a hold of her. And that's okay to be excited, but when you're that over the top excited and you have nothing else going on, the woman starts to worry. because then she thinks that you have nothing else going on in your life. And that, by default, gives you no substance because you just met the girl and you're so excited to see her. How does that show substance? You don't even know the damn girl, yet you're incessantly texting her too much and you're putting her on a pedestal, so to speak. Even though you're not face to face, she could tell. She knows exactly how you're thinking. Guys, what it really comes down to is having that X factor to a girl. That X factor, that wow factor, whatever you call it. Now, a good way to do that, there's not just one way, but a good way to do that through text, assuming you were Bob, is if you got Kate's number, just don't text her right away because it's a Friday night. You want to enjoy yourself. Instead, wait till the next day when you're kind of free and call her at around 2 p.m. at a time when she's usually most likely going to be up. And so you call her. Most guys text. You, on the other hand, you be more forward and you'll be able to detect her energy better through call. And so when you got on the phone with her, you don't just talk about nonsense and chit chat. Ask her about how her day was. Ask her about the most interesting thing that happened to her all week. Ask her about what she's looking forward to. And you, on the other hand, do the same thing. Talk about what you're really interested in. Talk about what you're passionate about. Talk about what you're so excited to accomplish in this year. And then after some rapport has been established, be like, tell you what, I like this conversation that we have between us. When are you free this week? Let her answer. And then when she gives you a date, tell her, okay, a date that you both agree upon. You set a definite date at a definite time and a definite place. And then you send her the address, the location information for the date, and tell her you meet her there. Most likely she's going to confirm. And then when she does confirm it even more by saying, you're not going to cancel last minute, are you? Because honestly, I'm too busy for that. But kind of put a funny tone on it, a playful tone. Don't be too serious. And then what's likely going to happen is because of the brevity, you were very brief. Sure, you talked to her on the phone for a few, but because you're very brief, you want to ask her open-ended questions also on the phone before setting the date. Don't ask her questions that are just like, how much siblings do you have? Where did you grow up? What'd you go to school for? What's your favorite color? Sure, those can possibly create rapport and build rapport, but what you want to do is you want to lean more on the side of open-ended questions to get her talking. You want her to talk your ear off. Don't just ask her closed-ended questions that just have a yes or no response or a one-word response. Ask her a creative open-ended question. And there's no right or wrong answer, but you could use something like, if you had $1 million right now, what would you do in the next 6 months with the money for yourself and for others? And why would you do it? Now that type of question, it didn't take a genius to ask it, but then it gets her talking. And then you can learn more about her. And it's an open-ended question because she talks more about it. And then you really get to understand the type of person she is, what her interests are, what she likes, what she doesn't like. And then you listen attentively and remember what she's saying. And then that builds rapport right then and there. And then you set the date, like I just said earlier. And then afterwards, what you want to do is just back off. Why? Because you want to be concise. Remember the power of brevity, being brief. And you showed substance at the same time. Now, what you don't want to do is talk to her too much. Instead, you guys want to meet in person. It's much more effective that way. You guys build rapport in person. You really get to know each other in person. And then when you're off the phone, she's going to be excited to see you. She's going to be like, oh my God, I can't wait till Thursday to see this guy. He's really interesting. And at the same time, he's very forward. And also, after you set the date, when you back off for a few, you'll make her miss you. You're automatically going to hack, quote unquote, hack her mind to kind of make her think about you. And you're not consciously doing this, or it doesn't seem like you are. You're just being natural about it and you're going about your business. And because you're not coming off unglued, she starts to think about you because you're not there anymore. And you intrigued her. She's like, this guy, I like the conversation we had. We talked about some interesting stuff. This guy seems like a really intellectual person, a really interesting person, a really charismatic person. So I want to talk to him. I want to get to know him. It's all about capturing her attention and then holding it. It's really that simple, guys. It's really not that hard. So just as a recap, guys, the way to capture a woman's attention is very powerful through the power of brevity and substance. When you are very brief and you're concise and you're to the point, and at the same time you're very interesting in terms of the things you're talking about, you make her start to think about you, because then you establish a different type of rapport between you and her, and you separate yourself amongst the other guys. And because you're very interesting, she's gonna be really excited to see you in person, and more than likely, this is gonna make her wanna set the date with you and excited about seeing you. And then over time, when you do this with a woman and she sees that you're more interesting, the more time she goes out with you, you'll develop a stronger connection between you and her, and that connection can just build and grow more and more over time. So that's really just the gist of it. Anyways, guys, if you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. Also, if you want consistent updates on similar content and you don't want to miss out, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell icon so you don't miss a thing. For free consultation, go to my website, www.dopelifecoaching.com. And also, guys, comment down in the comment section below for the things that you relate to in this video or the videos that you'd like me to cover in the future. And I'd be way more than happy to cover them. So that's pretty much it, guys. You got this. Peace.